All right, there. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Hello out there in radio land, internet land. It's DayTraderRockStar here. 10 o'clock p.m. Friday night. It's live. It's real. The reason I'm getting on here because I have to get some videos out, and I've been working all day. And so I'm going to do one of the videos. I want to do it live. That way, if anybody's out there in the listening audience and they get to hear this, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to be checking the chat room or anything, so if you try to text me, I'm probably just going to be focused on the video because I want to go over a lot of different things in this video. And this is not the HPS watch list video, which will probably come out tomorrow morning because, this video is going to encompass what I'm calling this video tonight is Friday Research, Recap, and Revelations. And a lot of revelations happened this week. And, and that's... I'm on the air from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 in the afternoon all day. So we get to hear and see everything together. We become a band, and, you see our strong sides and we see our weak sides. The first part of this is something it kind of threw me on my game yesterday. I totally went against my trading philosophy, my rules and everything. And I came into the market, and let me start off by saying that, I'm discussing this because I think it's very valuable to discuss because I'm sure a lot of other people go through this all the time, and it was an easy thing probably not to do, which makes it really upsetting to me because I want to do the best I can do, and if I do a stupid mistake, and it was a mistake, it was obviously, it went against all my rules, and when you go against all your rules, you're letting your emotions get involved, and I was getting really, I was very emotional about the market. It was after the Fed day. Market started off gapping up really high, and then I felt it was a great opportunity to see the market reverse today on a gap up because it was a few gaps. We had a few gaps a couple of weeks ago also. We had this series of running gaps, and typically then you get that other last explosion up and a capitulation and a big reversal. So that was in my mind all day, and you probably heard me say it too. I feel like having a hard time going long because I felt the market was going to sell off. I put a 2 in the room. There was just a few 2s in the room. And I'll show you what happened. And again, this is just for, because I think it's going to help me. It's going to help you. So this was the market here yesterday. And I'm going to zoom in here a bit. Trying to remember where I got in. Oh, it's after 9. So this is the 9:30. I don't know. Let's just take a look at this. This is the 9:30 beginning of the pullback. And we had a coil here that that showed weakness. We talked about this being a bear flag, but we also talked about being the first kind of a quad rotation area. So we had two things going for us. We had the beginning of a quad rotation. It wasn't really a divergence or anything, but it was a quad rotation. And the quad rotation actually gave you a little upside, and I actually took that trade. And it was fine. Not today or tomorrow. Are we dealing with all right, yeah, no. And we dropped down and we came back down here. We got oversold again, and we marked that off. And it was a nice oversold bounce. And I think it was at this point. Well, I wanted to go short, and I think I said right about here I want to go short, not paying attention to it was right around 10:30, not paying attention to 9, 3, 14, 3, 44, and the 60, 10, all setting up into a perfect rotation here. So this is what really got me. So I went against, I didn't even look at it. I was just, focused on the market, and I felt the market was getting away. Oh, I was right. It's going to go down. It's going to go down all day. So I get in here, go a little heavier, and of course it goes right against me. Of course it does, because it was a quad rotation. And it was now a 1, 2, 3 pattern, and this pattern right up here is obvious. I even put this up here before. We kept right up to the VWAP and stuff, and I decided to take it off. So I did. I bought when I should have, I sold when I should have bought. shorted when I should have went long, and then I covered when I should have been shorting. And right there, that was like two things in a row that I just back to back, over traded. Then tried to it just puts you in a bad frame of mind. And looking back at it, it's a good thing because it's it was perfect. It was perfect in the way if we paid attention to it and traded it the way we should have, it would have made us money. And everything, that's great, so I'm not that upset because I'm much happier that this setup was perfect to the upside, and that setup perfect was to the downside instead of me being opposite. Market came back down. We actually had a little quad rotation here, and we actually had a nice little move back up. Then we had a divergence here, and hey, that worked out pretty good. There was a nice steep divergence off of this candle right here. Put that candlestick, you put that low right into that candle, and off to the races. Then the market started rolling over, and we rolled over hard, and we kept on rolling over. And while I'm watching this thing roll over and so steep, I'm like, wow, you could be just banking on this. So I got even a couple emails about not taking pushing that long side today. I wasn't really, or that day, I wasn't really pushing the long side. It was very hard to go long. Well, it was hard for me to. I'm used to going long. I definitely am used to going long. We have long setups here, and that's fine if you recognize that. You recognize you're trading a downtrend. It's still okay to take this signal. If you're used to it, it's going to give you something. Just recognize that your rotation is going to probably be your exit until that trend is, your friend. Anything that's your friend, you want to stay with longer. If this was a downward, overbought level, then you would have a better chance. This is coiling down. The overall trend is down, down, down. Then we had the quad rotation, up, 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 of divergence, up, up, up. But then the market really started selling here, and that's when things get really bad. Now, beyond that, we'll try not to make that mistake anymore. I'm glad I was able to just kind of talk about it, clear the palette of my awful trade there, and know that everything else actually worked good. And it's important. We were working together well in the room. I think everyone was really trying to find this, and I think we're concentrating a little too much on the buy side, where of course we should have concentrated on the sell side. But even the sell side was pretty, we never really got any pure sell signals. We had one here which we took advantage of. We took something. We pointed this out as being a bear flag, and we dropped out, and then had that one divergence here, which didn't get us that far, but it did get us farther than the 20-period moving average, and that tells you something. And that's what you have to say. All right, we're overbought. Let me get out here. Even if you have a couple ticks, that's going to always keep you in the money. Being a robot like that, taking the trade off. The setup is there. You just have to kind of have that rule. Have that rule in your head that use a little market intuition, a little experience if you have it, understanding trends and how the market sentiment has been over the last few days. There's a lot of things you just throw into that pot and you kind of measure it out. And then you add that to your formula, and you kind of just you tweak it a little and understand. We were extended. And this was a gap up. I like the idea of a gap and crap. A sell. Especially a gap like that. It was a nice gap up. And of course we did sell off. Now, was it the news? We had some news that day too. It was Japanese news. They were going to be tweaking something with their monetary policy, and apparently the market just started selling off at that point. Now, the overnight trade is revelation number one. We went in this morning, and we just kind of, what I like to do is just go back and say, if I was trading overnight, maybe I was from Europe or something, or I was just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, and I was in front of my computer overnight, would these signals hold up? Well, it is mind-blowing, and we're going to give credit to the market before this. The market went into a big sell-off here. It was the day after Fed. There was a lot of news, so the volume picked up, I'm sure, for the day, and it carries over into the overnight session. So usually the overnight session of a very volatile, more of a day like we had is going to be a little bit more active because, the foreign markets are going to be opening up. There's overnight futures traders. A lot of people are going to be focused on this, and there's going to be, markets reacting to this. When the United States sneezes, the rest of the world catches cold. That's what they used to say. Anyway, here you're sitting around, and you said, "Oh, you know what? John just sent out. He must be up at 10 o'clock work or 8 o'clock." I might have actually sent this out. Little divergence here, relative divergence, quad. Looked really good on a quad at 8 o'clock. Not a lot of volume. Why not, right? So we circle it and look at it. It does move up and stays up there. Then we had some news out at 12 o'clock. Right before 12 o'clock, there must have been some Asian news because the market got really spiky here. And then what happened was we spiked down here and we got an oversold quad rotation. It took a while. But why did we just hit that right level right there after even this came down hard and it bounced back up and then came back down hard? It just happened to be perfect. That with a quad rotation right where it closed out. And then that was the second one of the day. And if you happen to be in front of the market that one, there's no other one that's, our criteria are the way we find these, both, with the bots or with a visual, just observation, which I like because, every divergence is like a snowflake. Oh, you're getting deep with me. I'm getting deep with you. It's like a snowflake, and you can read into it. There's stronger divergences, there's steeper divergences, there's hidden divergences. Everything means something, especially the coil, where that energy is, we could identify a coil divergence to become one of the best setups in the playbook. A coil divergence is the best setup. A rotation here, as you could see, we're not making this up. You just have to wait for that, and you have a better shot of, qualifying on your prop trade. That's what I'm saying. We're going to talk more about the prop trading because this is ideal for prop traders. You're not putting a lot in. You get a good coupon. You're paying like $18 to $30 a month, depending on your account size. That's how much you're risking to lose. And you have the opportunity to get into one of these. You could just trade off of these. You just have to be in the. You have to. Have a good stop. You have to recognize market trends, and if it's the right time to trade, you'll know it. You'll start to feel it, and then we kind of remind you that the next time we have some severe selling or buying and stuff, watch the overnight markets. It'll calm down. It won't be extended, but it'll give us bigger moves, and these moves will be identified by quad rotations, and you'll be able to just pinpoint these, even if you're doing nothing. Why not? If you're going to just sit here, it's not like you're going to lose a ton of money. Might as well take that and then let it ride. Watch this, go run around the lake. Put your stop in. Market here, all the way up and never getting a rotation here. Very strong. We saw that all day. I was like, I'm feeling very strong about this market. I have a feeling we're going to blow out the shorts. It could be scary to the upside. And we actually had that quad rotation here, a little pullback, but you could see how the 60-10 has been holding above the 50 most of the time. Very strong signal there. Finally, we break down. What do we come into? A quad rotation on a trend line. And we got a small move. I took this trade live. I think. I don't know what's... Everything melds into one big blur by the end of the day, 10 o'clock. But I got out of it. And I got out of it because I said the rotation is there, the trend is down. I'd rather get out on the rotation up to the 80 area. That took us out right around the 20-period moving average, and then it just turned over, and it really just sank. That sank hard. It flushed out really good. And what did it flush right into? A quad rotation, almost a coil 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a coiled quad rotation. It was a super signal. It was at 145, and that was it. That was the real other big move during the day. It was really the only big trading opportunity during the day. It was back down here, but this was the coil. Remember, there's a big thing between just having a quad rotation and something else that lines up with it. You either want to have a coil or a divergence or both of them. And these are what you should be trading with the prop firm. $14 risk, $18 risk, whatever you count when you use that coupon. Whatever you whatever you're paying a monthly, you're getting that. First of all, you're getting the live feed, you're getting a NinjaTrader license. So I got an email today, going to something else. A ton of email today. Ever since we started doing the prop trading and showing this RockBot on the way it's performing on this super scalper mode that I have it on. I want to show you this. This has been really working good. So I saw this email today, and this is like a podcast, an overnight podcast. I had tons of email. That's why I was like, oh my God. And typically Paul is helping me, but Paul is on this big server job. But Paul is going to be covering for me part of next week, and so you're going to get to hear a lot of Paul, and I'll talk more about that in a second. What was I looking? Oh, I was looking for that email. Hold on, I'm looking for the email. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. All right, so it says, hey, it's been a while, but I continue to use the membership and its resources, and I follow what the company is doing, which has been great. I would like to take advantage of the Bull Knox prop trading, so I emailed them. I emailed them about the RockBot. They were very familiar with it and said that the account, it said to trade, if they said it's okay to use the RockBot to trade on that account, and they said as long as it's fine with me. So he was asking me permission if it's okay if he uses the RockBot, trade in the prop account. But I think you need a special license, not these licenses. If you have your own license, you could apply that license. That's a great thing to do. Have the license for the NinjaTrader. Right? You have it. You bought the platform. You paid for the license and stuff. And now you have it. You don't have to have a broker with them. You could still use the charting service with a feed. Add the feed to it. I have. But in this case, they're giving a rhythmic feed. For that monthly thing. You're getting a rhythmic feed, which is real-time futures feed. You're getting the platform, and you're getting the opportunity to kind of, trade your ass off and try to hit the goal of qualifying. And, ever since we've started really focused on that, I think that's a really great, absolutely fantastic way of just getting started and learning about trading. I mean, you have the risk. You have a little risk. It's not devastating, and the goal is attainable, as you can see. Now, we haven't talked about the different options on this. When we take these trades, and if you're watching the show, it's much easier to get in on these. But if you're not in front of the show and you want those alerts, I'm doing the best I can. They're going to get better because I'm also going to automate it for the overnight trade. What I mean by that is I want to get these. I would rather get these and just put in an order, with a trailing stop, and just see, put a bracket in. Hit the bracket button. Go long, trailing stop, put the stop in right on, a point, and see if these levels line up. And most likely they will. And they might not give you a lot. This one went from 82 to 96. That was early in the morning. I shouldn't really even look at that, but we did. We look at everything. Let's look at 4:30 in the morning. It went from 76 area to 86. Wow, so another 10 points. Now, again, if you take one of these and you go, in this case, if you had a $50,000 account and you took 7 contracts, you would get to 3,500 right there. And you would qualify on that one trade on one of these. And that's what we had to get to. We had to get to the point of taking that trade. because it's always there. So I'm putting it out there for myself. Always put it out there for myself. I use you guys to help myself. It's a big. Just think of the loss. What's the worst thing that could happen when you take a setup like this? It goes against you a tick. A point maybe. You still have your hard stop in. I think it's just the fear of failing, mostly. Just, or seeing it work so well and not wanting to give it, you're happy with that. And like, I love watching this thing. I don't want to prove, I don't want it to prove itself wrong. Or your superstition, thinking you're going to get in and the whole system's going to go down the toilet. It's one of those things. So, hold on, I got a text here. I'm doing this live. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm not even going to edit this. So that was today, and again, reading the markets and that's what we do here at Day Trader Radio, and I love the concept of how everything's working here. Yesterday I made a stupid mistake. I punished myself for it all day. Even bothered me today, but that's trading. That's what we have to deal with as traders. I'm happy to say that everything else, other than right here, looks like there was a quad here. This is the one that failed, and it was right on the trend line too, and it was a pretty decent one. I said, all right, here's a trend line, but it almost looks like there was some volume that came in, and look how it dropped so hard. It was almost a planned drop, and it flushed right through the V. It bounced off the VWAP, then came back down, and then eventually gave us the coil stochastic setup here, because we bounced here. Right when we bounced, we put in that fourth downward, that high, that lower high, then the lower high, and then it was that last one, the lower high, but a higher low. Put that little sneaky divergence in right there. Couldn't even really see it, but it was probably good. You could see the coil though. The coil is obvious, and the coil, like I said, the coil has been coming to become one of the better setups out there. So that was pretty cool. I got that email. He says that they called the bull auction. You can use the rock bot to trade. Someone was saying that you can't use automated bots to trade these accounts. They don't really care. If they find something that works, that's great. But don't think that you just turn on the bot and run it 24/7. You got to know the conditions. Like, that's our next topic for right now here. It's like, my mouth is getting all dry. Let me just check this. I was going to go over a couple stocks also, but we're going to wait for the video tomorrow on that. JD, though, was working after hours, and that's our best bet going into Monday. I'm predicting a pop-up on Chinese stocks, and this one will lead the way. It's either up or down. I mean, we'll see if there's any news out that affects the market. So that is that. So I had a few listeners email me asking about the Apex trading, the prop trading, and I talked about it a little today on the radio. They said that, you should give it a try. They're a better company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've actually been happy with the Bullinox. I had no issues other than in the beginning. It was a little hard to set up, and it doesn't work on one of my computers. It has to work on another computer, so it's not the, that was, but it's working now, and it's been flawless. All right, so I can only say that I understand there's probably issues for people just getting it installed, because I don't think the directions are that good. I did a video on my installation. It helps a lot, so I would recommend watching it on how to install the how to install the Bullinox. I believe it's on the front page. But if I could send you the link if you want it. You just have to email me at ironaction@yahoo.com. So now we got these coupes. So I talked to Cameron Cameron. He's I guess the head guy over there, and I've talked to him before, and we've had a good conversation. He knows about day trading radio, and he was very happy. We had a nice conversation, and I called him again today or yesterday. We discussed a little bit more about the coupons and stuff, and he says, "All right, well, if you ever need the best coupon, if there's no promotions, they give you a coupon." And he gave me 3 free coupons for 3 months, and they got taken right away. And I put them into the room, and they were gone in a minute. Because I thought everyone could use them, but apparently they were one use, one time, the free month thing. And he only gave me 3 of them. I was wondering why he gave me 3 different codes. I think I should have. I'm so used for that code to work over and over again, but it was a one-time code. So whoever got it, got it. Next time we should spin a wheel for it. I didn't know they were one-time use. So anyway, now there's, the option 2 on these, at least on the Bull and Ox, the option 2 is where you don't have that rolling drawdown. The thing with the prop trading is, the choppiness. If you're long here and you happen to get that quad rotation, and you're moving on up and you want to hold on to it, you're kind of, every time the market pulls back a little, you're incurring these losses that add up, even though you're not selling. So it's kind of, the clock is the hours of, the sand glass, the hourglass with the sand in it is always ticking on these things. And that's the option 1. That's probably why it's so kind of cheap sometimes. You get these coupons, like the coupon now, it's like $17, $18 for the 50,000 account. Now you're trading that, but you had that rolling drawdown. And I think that's probably the hardest part in these markets, or in these prop challenges, is that rolling drawdown. So I'm giving you the coupons for the option 2, which is not a rolling drawdown. And it's probably a much easier way of accomplishing your goal here. So let me get that up for you here. And I forgot to record that. I had such a nice little thing about the I'll have to do it again here. Anyway, I just discussed the Bull and Ox coupon. There's a 91% that's good just until tonight. It ends 11:59. That's their July 1 91%. They only do these things for a couple weeks and they end. So this one's actually ending tonight. So if you want that real big steep discount, the $50,000 one or the 20, option 1 on either the 25 or the 50. And then I was discussing the rolling drawdown and how that is the killer of all these prop trading guys. That if you're going up, that's great, but if you come back, you're kind of, gathering those losses, and they add up, and it just kind of, the clock is ticking against you. But here in this case, you're not going to have that situation, so they charge you a little bit more with the coupon here. It's 103. So say it's here, the 25,000 one, up to 3 contracts, normally 103. It's 42 with the coupon. Hot 25. That's 70% off, and that's good until July. And it goes down the list here. The Hot 50. It's 48, and the Hot 100 is for 64. Use the link, and that was it on the Bull and Ox. The Bull and Ox. And then I told you guys that I had a discussion with the Apex guys, and they gave me these coupons, and they disappeared real fast. But well, that's the Bull and Ox. Where's the Apex? Oh, here it is. So I had, a couple of traders came to me, asked me about it. So here's the codes on the Apex. Code is DTR Apex. Simple. DTR Apex. It's good for all of them. It's 80% off any of their lifetimes. Good until July 31st, 11:59. So they're all ending this month. And you could get up to 20 accounts. So that's another thing that you want to discuss, is how you want to do this. If you do blow up an account, you're not losing that much, considering the opportunity that, considering the alerts you're going to get. You're going to get very close to qualifying if you just pay, you have some good discipline and stuff. I think it's not going to be as hard. We have many traders in our room are qualifying. I was like, a few people told me just in the last 24 hours that they were qualifying. Thank you. And I said, wow, that's great. He goes, yeah. And there was a big difference between people who are doing really, really well and people that are not doing real well. And it was the one thing was one of them was taking the signals, the shorter signals, taking profits fast. All these little things are important, all part of the puzzle. So DTR Apex, you go to Apex, go to the link. I'll put the link in the I'll put the link in the description. I'll get this out fast so you guys can take advantage of it, because those alerts are good. So now we have the Apex and now we have the Bull Knox, and I'll decide which one is best. We'll take a poll, see what people enjoy better, but of either one of them. All right, that's the Bull Knox DTR 25. That's good until tonight. So let's go back here. What was the other thing we're going to discuss? The super signal for we just started that in the last couple months. The one thing I want to improve on is getting more, and the one thing I had to come and kind of have a mental discussion with him, in my head. Of course, it would be a mental discussion, wouldn't it, Johnny? Yes, it would. I had this discussion, that was thrown back and forth. Should I add the quad rotation alerts to the super signal alerts? Meaning the prop alerts are going to go out on a different channel altogether. People could direct them to their phone and stuff. They want to be close to the computer when we have a setup. But I prefer to have that set up. That super signal is only defined to a quad rotation coil or a quad rotation divergence, basically, or a quad rotation trend line. But, really the coil and the divergence, and usually the combination of all of them, are the best moves. And that's almost like what I want to, that's a pure, perfect setup. We must take those. Those will qualify you. And they come around. It's just, I know in the markets, in that, what condition the markets are in also helps a lot. Look at these setups. I mean, it's obvious. You look back at this and it's like, oh, I just had to need to go along there. It was 10 points. I would have qualified. Here, look at this. It was 20 points. Oh, some of these, you look back and it says, that's all I had to do is push the button when he said these lines line up. I'm not saying that, but if he did, it's not going to be like that all the time. Sometimes in a market when you're selling off and this is embedded, then you want to stay out of the market if it's in a very strong trend. But if it's chopping around and going around and it's taking time for this to come down, and it comes down just when everyone else comes down, and this is taking its time, it's like coiled up. It's almost waiting for this 60-10 to wait. It's waiting for everything to get down together. And then right when everything is down together, boom, explosion. It is the way. All right, that is how you're going to qualify. So, I'm excited about it going forward. I want to continue to improve it. I have quad rotation. I'm doing the second version of that to make it a little bit faster. And I'm doing the short side, or what we call a cell, I guess the cell quad rotation, which is very simple. We have to make that red. So we'll have some nice, cool, more lines on it. I'm probably going to work on that now, right after I send this video out, and I'm going to do the watch list in the morning. All right, I know there was something else I was going to go over, but I'm almost forgetting now. Oh, you know what it was? I remember now. So I'm going to take some time off next week, and it's tough for me to do that because I don't want to do it. But it was something our family has planned as a special occasion because my son is turning, he's turning into a young man, 17, and we're kind of worried that we're not going to have too many good family vacations coming up, because kids, you know, at that age, they start to not want to do things unless they're friends, or, you know, and we're just gonna try to embrace that. So kind of taking this last minute little trip, because, you know, kind of a, you know, because it's been bothering us, you know, in our family, me and my wife. So we're going to do that together. Paul's going to cover for me. But it kind of hurts me to do that too, you know, because I'm really enjoying trading these days. And, you know, so I'm torn. I'm very torn on that. So I'm going to bring my computer down. I want to actually trade from the room and try to keep in touch each day, because I want to continue to send out the alerts. And I don't think it's going to be hard if I'm, you know, where I'm going to be. It won't be that hard to just follow the markets. I'll be in the same time zone and stuff. And I don't think I'll have an issue with following and sending the alerts out. And that's what I want to try to do. So you probably will hear from me quite a bit next week. And Paul will be on covering. So I apologize if that kind of hit you the wrong way and it kind of snuck up on you. Kind of, you know, I almost considered not going. So I didn't want to make my decision until the last minute. You know, that's really, but then again, being honest with you, I think it's probably, you know, something we want to do as a family before my son gets too old and doesn't want to hang out with us anymore. So that was the last thing I wanted to say. Now, tomorrow I'm going to do the watch list, of course, for next week. The, you know, the JD here, we'll just leave off with that. It started to move. Look where it went today. I mean, we nailed that yesterday. We nailed that, and we kind of grinded up after hours. I don't know if you can see that. Just everything looks really good for a Monday pop. The Intel, INTC, great trade this week. We got the gap up. We bought it about 2 minutes before earnings came out. Maybe even a minute before. A minute. I'm putting in my order. It's not going through. I said, oh, it's after 4 o'clock. I had to put a limit order. And someone said in the room, you got to put a limit order. I put a limit order in. And I got hit. And then not more than a minute later, it exploded higher. And I was like, all right. And then I had to leave. I put my order in for $37.50. And I left, and I come back the next morning. I was hit $37.50. The market went up to Intel went up to $37.63. I said, "Wow, that was perfect." I still like the Intel a lot here. I think it's a turnaround play. I mean, now we have a huge gap. We have a huge gap up, and that's right there. So I think overall, though, you know, it's gonna, if it starts hanging up here pretty good, like hangs around that 37, 36, doesn't really break down too much, no big candles, it's probably going higher. I mean, the bottom's in on Intel, in my opinion. The other one that's very interesting, the cheap, I'll give you that cheap one, PSNL, and the Kathy Wood's favorite. I think they're gene sequencing company, doing something. Came out of a wedge pattern. It's kind of just ledged out. I have high hopes for this. I think it could, you know, one day pop back up to $4 or $5. Just it has something going on. Kathy Wood's been buying it for, you know, last few years. I marked off when she was buying it. The last time it was at $6 and change. Now it's at $2. But it looks spacey. It looks good. All right. Markets again. Oh, another thing. I almost missed. This is super important. The 5 minute. This is what I wanted to talk about. The 5 minute, not the 5 minute. The bot, the rock bot. How well it was been working this week. Something going on here. We've, you know, I was doing a video the other day for someone who was just getting the rock bot. And to kind of mention it, the Rockbot was always available for lifetime members. We still want the lifetime members to, you know, get that. You know, they'll still always get that Rockbot. They get everything for free, and our gratitude. But I'm going to offer the Rockbot on like a monthly and a 3 month and a yearly subscription rate type of thing where we'll let you use it for the month and stuff. So we kind of added that to and a lot of people take advantage, especially of like the 3-month program, and they get the RockBuck for 3 months, because you got to give it time, you got to learn about it. But I tell you, getting the news that you could use the RockBot trading the prop firms, at least for the bull index, and then seeing what the results were recently and why the results were like this. I want to go over this right now with you. Just give me a second. Oh, I just closed my... I think I can just closed it. No, one. There we are. All right, bringing it over. What the heck? Oh, I never turned it off to RockBot. You guys weren't watching anything. You were just listening to me. I apologize out there in the day trading radio land. I had it off. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the parameters. So recently, I was discussing parameters for some of the newer people who were, getting that script and having it run on their own machine. And when you do that, you can't just push the button and expect greatness to happen. You might get lucky, you might get greatness every time you push the button, but if you could tweak it a little based off market conditions, you're going to increase your odds. So, and it really comes down to, what the market is giving you at the time. Is the volatility higher in the market? You're giving bigger pivots from, like, you're going 10 points instead of 2 points. It's a big difference in this environment. Like, even the overnight trade, those 3 quad rotations gave you over 10 points. One of them was 20 points overnight. That was pretty impressive. You could do a lot just waiting for those things overnight and not have the real turbulence of an open market throwing things. Sometimes these are the best overnight. Sometimes, if you have it's a balance. It's almost like it has to be after a very volatile day. It takes the edge off of it, and the overnight is more active, gives you some good setups, but the edge is off of it. So when we see a market is trending down like this, and what happens is you start to get embedded on things. And even in that very choppy session down here, you can have divergences, because the divergence right now is measuring each candlestick versus the stochastics versus the candle. Once you get down and you're choppy, lots of times you'll get some false signals. Now, this was a interesting one because you could see here the coil that happened, also the divergence that happened. This is a different view of it right here. And it recently had that quad rotation. So that quad rotation came in here. Even though it came in here, we did have a little lift off. Remember, this quad rotation's a little late too. You would move these over one candle. If I could adjust these to move over one candle, but I want to make sure that we have a little upside before we get these. It just helps. But what the key was here, and what normally I was using on the parameters, on a 1 minute time frame, it would be typically 4 or 5 ticks, a point to a point and a half on the first target on the 1 minute time frame, and then I move the stop up, and lots of times I'd follow it by 6 ticks, give it a little running room and stuff. When the market went into kind of a sell-off, those things, it never got the rotation of 6 ticks, So what we did is we lowered our targets or profit areas, profit zones. When we're looking for 5 ticks, I was starting to look at 3 ticks and moving a stop up, a break. We move a break even stop right up, right when that 3 ticks is taken. So now all of a sudden you get a higher probability move, because the divergence here, even though it's not giving you a lot, it's definitely going to give you 3 ticks. Unless we're really, selling off hard. But the object is to get at least 3 ticks, and most likely when you do get that 3 tick and you're in a situation like this, you're taking the trade. Most likely, if it is a divergence, it's going to go more bigger. It has a chance of really taking off. So even though we have just a 3-tick profit, the trailing stop is still going to be in effect. So if this thing really does decide to pop and take off and never comes back to, close at the high, and runs, you're going to follow that right up real close. And I think you could see how this one did that. It, got in here. Instead of a 3-tick target, you were getting, you were long, first profit, second profit, and then the trailing stop came in a little bit higher. It was very, very tight. I mean, if I had a trailing stop of probably 4 or 5 ticks, we'd probably catch all this. And that's the tough part of this, But that's what I always say. This is an indicator, Manually let it get into the trade for you. Let it take the trade, and then you analyze the market conditions and decide if you want that trade on or not. But it will identify them fast, And these things, like here, we had this is straight down, but, all this crap down here gave us some false alerts. Until we got a quad rotation, and then we got a bigger move. So we always kind of combine these things, and that's what we want to do. Combine them. It was even some shorts here, but this was up. This was up about $170 today. Just trading the 3 ticks. I was very surprised on it, and yesterday it was up nice, and overnight it was just nailing it. But again, everything. If there is a quick And this is something else we discussed. When you look at the back testing on things like this, so this was that hard selling yesterday. It was a very, very annoying day. But yesterday, this worked out really good. We were up like $200 on this. In this trade environment. It was very, very interesting. Because believe it or not, it looks like it just kept going, just a lot of targets here. But they're all being hit. First profit hit. Here, first profit hit. Trailing stop. First profit hit. Over here, first profit, second profit hit. Even though it looks like it's selling off, maybe this one, trailing stop, got hit here. But here, lane divergence, first profit, and a trailing stop. Most of these actually worked out really good. And it would not if we had a, here, even this one even, got a little divergence. That gave us just enough to get out. And even though it didn't give us a lot, it came back down. Then triggered again, and we got all of that. It was on fire. I mean, it was just on fire. Continues to be on fire. So, without the trailing, I was thinking, without the trailing drawdown, and you just put it wouldn't be a bad tool to use this on the ES, trading if you do have the license, trade in your prop account and use these parameters. These parameters have been working really well, and this is just on the MES. You're going to multiply that result, especially if you're going to take the full, you're going to give yourself a little room to let it play out. Let it play out. See what it does. What's the worst thing that can happen? You lose $30 in your fee. But hell, why not? But I would always say the best thing to do is manage it yourself. But then when you look back at the results, you don't want that responsibility. You don't know if you're right or the bot is right. Here, know when to trade it. Like these two is too choppy right here. Didn't really get anywhere. But these candles were very. I mean, you're not risking anything. I mean, the stop here was the same stop as the end, a 50-cent stop. So, I mean, there's not a lot of losses going on here. The only time you're going to find those losses on the bot is when the bot trades around a news, release or an open or a close, and when the market gives a big spike, and that spike comes in, and you put in a low with that big candle down for whatever it is, and your stop is going to go one tick underneath that low. That's how it works. Now, say this is a volatile market and it turns back up, and it has to confirm one candle. By the time you're in here. This is exactly what happened. This is where it went long from this divergence. it went long here. It needs one candle to confirm, and then it starts off with your long. Now, in this case, it was fine, but you could probably get in earlier on this by recognizing this happening and close on the highs. And I think we might have done that. I mean, I think we were all over this. But that's a hard, the bot will pick that up and trade that, no problem. I don't know if we're going to have it in ours, to analyze all that on a fly like that. I didn't, and get in. But that's the danger. If this decided to come back down and you just got in here, there's a big stop. That's 606 to 601. That's a 5-point stop. Normally, I would say the stop was usually very small, like within 2 points. You don't want to. I don't know if you want to risk everything on that type of thing happening. So it's always good to analyze and confirm each of the trades. And if you have a bad wick, adjust it, or understand what's going on. I can't stress that enough. It does pick up these spots and it runs with it. But I think with the commentary, having the tools, having the super alerts are going to be it. The super signals, the super signals are going to be it, because we know that coil divergence and right market conditions, we know we're going to get big levels there. We'll know when that setup is here. Last 2 days here, Fed meeting, end of the month, a little bit more choppy than I'd like to see, but it's actually looking pretty good. So that's it on this video. I want to get back here tomorrow and do the HPS watch list for you. It'll be the swing trades. I hope if you have any questions on anything, if you want to have the Rockbot running on your machine, you have to get the NinjaTrader platform, and you have to have a license for that, multi-broker license, or license. You can't use an evaluation copy. They don't allow add-ons on evaluation copies. So that's just one of the things. And of course, if you have your own license, like someone emailed me today, they called Bullinox, and they said that it was fine to use the bot to trade. So that's kind of cool information too. You don't have to worry about being disqualified or something. And that's it. I'll have all the information in the description and in this video, and I want to get this out. And I'll see you guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning.